Hey guys, welcome back to this week's video. Today we're going to take a look at the hack squat. And the reason we're taking a look at the hack squat is because it's one of my favorite exercises for quads and for quad development. And I know you're pretty used to the idea that doing a barbell back squat is really sort of the king of leg exercises. And while there's definitely some utility in doing barbell back squats, not something that I would ignore or just completely avoid, but if you really want to overload your quads, then the hack squat is going to be the exercise that you're going to want to target. Alright, so before you actually start the exercise, it's really important for you to understand not only how you're going to set up in the sled to do the movement, but really to be thinking about the full range of motion that you'll be going through along the way. So two things you want to do. Number one, you want to position your feet relatively low on the platform and about hip width apart, so fairly narrow. Alright, so now once you're set up in the sled, your feet are positioned exactly where you want them to be. Slide on down, make sure that your lower back makes full contact with the pad. And at all times during the range of motion, you really want to be focused on keeping your lower back in contact right here. You really want to make sure that you're keeping your heels, the full surface of your foot, pressed into the platform. Knowing that many people have less than ideal mobility at your ankles, and so that's going to limit your ability to keep your heels down. We have a solution for that. I'll get to that in a moment. The second thing you want to be able to do is to keep your lower back fully in contact with the back pad. In fact, you want to be thinking about not only pushing through this platform, but also pushing into the back pad at all times, on the way down into the squat, and in particular on the way back up out of the squat. So with both foot and ankle position or foot and heel position and lower back position in mind, you're going to be looking out for one of two things to happen as you go through the range of motion. You're going to want to pay attention to which breaks first. Whether you feel the weight transfer to the front of your feet, in which case you're not able to keep your heels down, or you feel your lower back starting to lift away from the back pad. When either of those two things happen, you've gone too far. So then readjust your range of motion to make sure that both of those points of contact remain solid throughout. And from there, when you're ready to get started, head back, shoulders back, push through the platform and release the safeties. From this position, I like to basically clasp my hands together just to keep the safeties secure so that they don't fall outwards. And again, the build of the machine they're using might be slightly different. Just make sure that you're in control of the sled at all times. From here, nice and slowly, allow the sled downwards. Focus on your heels. Make sure that your full foot is in contact with the platform, and then push through and push back into the pad. So one thing that's going to limit the depth of your squat in the hack squat sled is the amount of dorsiflexion that you have at your ankle, or your overall ankle mobility. And so if you're someone that has really poor mobility at your ankle, you're probably not going to get very deep into the squat. One thing you can do, elevate your heels. Now, not many gyms are going to have wedges like these. You can improvise by using maybe a 25-pound plate. But these right here, they're 10 degrees. Hopefully you shouldn't need any more than that. But these wedges go up to even 30 degrees. But you really shouldn't need anything beyond 10. Right, good. So now that we've gone through the basics of the setup and the actual execution of the exercise, here are a couple of tips on how you can modify the exercise if you have certain issues. So number one, if you have any issues at your knee, any sort of acute or chronic pain, any previous injuries, ankle issues, then you really want to limit your range of motion. Stop short of where you ordinarily would if you didn't have those issues. Secondly, if you have any sort of lower back strain or any issues with your lower back, again, the first thing to do is to make sure you stay in contact with your hips and your lower back in the pad of the hack squat sled at all times. Don't allow your lower back to leave. That's going to help you out. In addition, you want to think about not placing much tension upwards into the shoulder pad, and that's going to prevent compressive forces on your spine. That's also going to save your lower back. And here is the final tip about executing this exercise. Do this if you want even more contraction of your quads. So as you come down into the squat, come to a complete stop at the bottom of the rep, and then think about pushing again through the platform with your feet, back into the pad with your lower back, and then the trick is now to intend to slide your feet upwards up the platform. So it sounds really weird, you're pushing through and you're sliding upwards at the same time as if you're doing a leg extension. That's going to place even more tension or even more force through your quad. Okay guys, so that is pretty much it for today. Go ahead, try out the hack squat to lead off your next big leg workout and really focus now on generating as much force or tension with your quads as you can. Really take advantage of having that sled there to stabilize your body and use the exercise now for maximum quad output. Then of course, move on, get done with your hack squats, then follow up with the other exercises that I've recommended. Your goal is typically to keep the workout relatively short, but as intense as you can possibly make it. Because at the end of the day, it's really not entirely about the quantity of work that you put in, but about the quality of the work you put in and how much you can focus tension in the muscle that you're trying to target or you're working on for every rep of every set and again of every exercise. Now, if you found the video to be beneficial, as usual, give it a thumbs up. I would of course encourage you to subscribe to the channel, but also to ring that notification bell so that you receive the notification as soon as each week's video is posted. But until the next video guys, next week, aloha from beautiful Kauai.